Okay, we're going to do the intro. Welcome to...
Fun Facts with Dad!
Me! Oh.
What did you just say?
Nothing.
Hello and welcome to Fun Facts with Dad. I am Phoebe.
And I am Dad.
And in this episode of Fun Facts with Dad, we are going to be talking about Pluto, the planet. So, first of all, Dad wants to say something about Pluto.
Yeah, I'll just give you a little bit of information about Pluto before we go any further. These are some free facts for you, Phoebe. Pluto was discovered in 1930, and at this time it was considered a planet. The ninth planet to be exact, and the most distant from the Sun at that time. But in 2006, Pluto was changed from a planet to a dwarf planet due to its small size. Pluto is made up of mainly ice. It's a very cold dwarf planet with a rocky core. So there's a few free facts before we actually start talking about our 10 facts. And I've got one more fact for you. Do you remember in the last episode?
Yeah.
When you said that you thought the planet Pluto was named after Mickey Mouse's dog?
Yeah.
Well, I did some research and I found out that Pluto the dog is actually named after the planet. Because Pluto the dog was created in 1930 and Pluto the planet was discovered in 1930 and Walt Disney named Pluto the dog after the planet. So there's a little bit of trivia.
Really interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Because I thought at first that the planet Pluto was named after Pluto the dog. I hope, probably the Pluto the dog probably has a picture of the actual Pluto in its little dog house now.
He might do. Are you ready for your 10 facts about Pluto? Let's see if you can answer them.
So, everyone, I just want to say one thing. So, last time, we both told each other facts, but I realised that it's really hard to read my dad's handwriting. So, Dad's just going to ask me it.
I will ask you 10 questions.
Yes,
and let's see if you know them. Question one. Phoebe, do you know what colour Pluto is? The planet, not the dog.
The dog is yellow. So, I think Pluto's planet is like brownish, yellowish, reddish from what I've seen from the pictures.
Right, I can tell you, you're not far wrong. Actually, you're not wrong at all. It's a light brown dwarf planet with some dark browns in it and some white colour in there as well. It's a little bit like Mars, but not as red or rusty, but it's a very similar look to it. Question 2. Do you know what Pluto is named after? I know you know this one because you looked it up yourself. Who is it?
A god.
A god. Let me give you a bit more information on that. An 11-year-old girl named Venetia Burney, I think that's how you pronounce the name. She actually named Pluto after the Roman god of the underworld, and he was also known as the god of wealth as well. Actually, most of the planets in the sky are named after Greek gods and Roman gods, apart from Earth. Earth isn't named after a god.
Earth is named after dirt.
You've got Jupiter, you've got Mars, all them kind of planets. They're all named after gods.
After Mars bars.
It's not named after a Mars bar.
And the Milky Way is named after
Mars bars didn't even exist when Mars was... get out.
Okay, bye.
Right. No, come back, I was joking. Right. Question 3. Do you think Pluto has its own moon? Like Earth has a moon. Do you think Pluto has a moon?
I think... I'm not sure if this is a different planet. Does it have 2 moons?
Well, it has got more than 1.
3.
Nope.
4.
No.
5.
5. It's got 5. It's got... Can you imagine looking up in the sky and seeing 5 moons?
No, I'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are 4 of them stars, what are big, or 4 of them, like, big rocks coming to hit Earth? Or aliens?
Moons. Right. Pluto, as I just said, has 5 known moons, and they are called, I'll try and pronounce this right, Charon, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra. Charon looks a little bit like our moon. It's quite round and it looks just like our moon. If you were standing on the surface of Pluto, it would be quite big. But all the other moons what are floating around Pluto, they're not perfectly round like our moon. They look just like misshapen rocks that are floating around. So that was pretty interesting, wasn't it? That it's got 5 moons. I didn't know it had any moons. So there we go. Right, are you ready for your next one?
Yes.
You sure?
No.
Right. How long do you think it takes Pluto to go around the sun?
Oh, I know how long it... Wait, was this the one before for Earth or Pluto? You said one of them before.
This is what we were talking about when we were filling the paddling pool up outside, when we were putting the water in the pool. We were talking about this.
Me and James is my brother, and we both said that it takes 1 year for the Earth to go around the sun.
That's right, 365. Well, it's just a little bit over 365 days. Not much, just a little bit. But 365 days it takes the Earth to go around the sun. So how many days do you think it takes Pluto to go around the sun? Now, bear in mind...
I think you said before 730 years.
Well, I'll tell you, right? Just bear in mind that Pluto is so far out into space. So if you've got the sun here and you've got the Earth quite near it going round, it doesn't take that long. But if you've got Pluto all the way over here going around the sun, it would take a lot longer, right?
You know, people didn't see you doing the actions.
No, they couldn't see me doing the actions, but you could.
Yeah.
It takes Pluto 248 years to do a full circle around the sun. That, like I said, that's because it's so far away. And in fact, ever since it was discovered in 1930, it hasn't been round the sun once yet. It's still making its way around. So what do you think of that?
I think that's my favourite one so far.
Is that your favourite one?
Yes.
Right. Well, we've got 6 more to go, so
okay.
you might have another favourite one soon. Do you think Pluto is bigger or smaller than our own moon?
Well, it's a dwarf planet, so
it's a dwarf planet.
It's not smaller. I mean, it is smaller.
It is actually smaller than our moon. I wonder why our moon isn't considered a dwarf planet.
Yeah.
Because our moon is bigger than Pluto, and Pluto was demoted because it was smaller, so shouldn't our moon be a dwarf planet as well?
That would be weird.
I think there's been discussions about making our moon into a dwarf planet. So.
Then we wouldn't have a moon.
But I like the moon staying as a moon. What do you think?
Yeah, me too.
I think it should stay as a moon.
It looks like a moon. It looks like cheese. And I want to say one thing. The moon on our front cover looks like cheese because I told you to make it yellow.
You said to me, make it yellow. And I said, the moon isn't yellow. But you said, I want it to look like cheese.
Yes.
You dope.
I want to say one thing. Happy Easter, everybody.
Very excited about Easter, aren't you? Do you think you're going to get lots of Easter eggs?
Yeah, and I want to say one thing. Today I made an Easter bunny outfit.
You did? You made some little cardboard ears, didn't you, that you put on top of your head?
And I coloured in.
And a big pink Easter egg on this t-shirt.
No, it's not an Easter egg.
It's not an Easter egg.
It's the bunny's belly.
Oh, is it the bunny's furry pink belly?
Yeah.
All day I thought it was an Easter egg. Right. I've got another question for you now. Do you think Pluto has bright days like we have here on Earth?
Oh, I remember.
Think about how far away Pluto is. Think about how far away from the sun it is. Do you think it has the same kind of brightness as we have here on Earth?
It has about that much brightness.
They can't see that, right?
I don't know. It's
I'll tell you.
A pinch of brightness.
A pinch of brightness, right? If you could stand on Pluto when the sun is shining on the planet, it would be like standing on the surface of the Earth just before the sun disappears below the horizon and disappears from sight. So it'd be bright enough to, say, read a book.
So would it be the same as what I just said? Do you think?
A pinch? No. This is because Pluto is so far away from the sun, and from Pluto, if you were stood on Pluto, the sun would be 1,520 times fainter than it would be on Earth. So that's it's quite dim, but if you were stood on the surface of Pluto, you would still be able to see, if you was holding a book, you'd still be able to read that book. It'd be light enough to read.
Yeah.
But it would be very, very, very dim.
Wait, everyone. What? I got it wrong and we won't be able to read, which won't be a problem to me.
Well, you didn't get it wrong because you said that there wouldn't be much light.
Yeah.
I just give you the...
Pinch.
I give you the facts, and that's what all this that's what this podcast is all about, isn't it? The facts.
Pink.
How long does it take sunlight to reach Pluto? Do you know how long it takes sunlight to reach Earth?
Yeah, 8 or 9 minutes.
8 minutes. That's right.
Yeah, so if it's so far away,
it
should be about I'm trying to do calculations here.
You're doing some good brain work here. So, you know that it takes 8 minutes for it to reach Earth.
Something.
I'll tell you, it takes 5 hours for sunlight to reach Pluto.
What?
It takes. So when that little particle of light leaves the sun, it takes 5 hours until it shines on Pluto. It travels all the way through space and then eventually it hits Pluto. It takes 5 hours. That just goes to show you how far Pluto is away from us and from the sun. It's incredible.
I want to say one fact what I know what Dad's told me before. How it takes 8 minutes for the sun to reach here. Say the sun just randomly disappears, it will take 8 minutes for us all to realise. That's
right. If the sun disappeared right now for some reason, if it just blinked out, we wouldn't know about it for 8 minutes. We would still be receiving that light coming from the sunshine. And then 8 minutes later, it would just go dark. But don't worry, that's never going to happen. That's just, imagine if it did, it would take 8 minutes for that sunlight to reach us before the last bit of sunlight reaches us, and then it will go dark. How long is one single day on Pluto?
Oh, I'm assuming it'll be 24 hours.
That's how long it is on Earth.
I know, that's
one single day on Earth is 24 hours. But
Wait,
remember, Pluto is smaller. So should that day be less if the planet is smaller?
It should be about 10 hours.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But Pluto, I think, must rotate slower. I'll tell you now.
So it'd be like 25 hours.
It takes Pluto over 6 Earth days to rotate fully. It takes us 24 hours to go all the way around, but it takes Pluto 6 of our days to go all the way around. Did you know that the planet Pluto turns the opposite way to Earth? It actually turns backwards compared to us.
I'm turning it backwards with my hands.
Yeah, you're doing it with your hands. They can't see that. It's a podcast.
I know.
I was doing it too. I'm guilty.
Yes.
You ready for the next question?
Yes.
You ready? Hype yourself up for this one. How old do you think Pluto is?
Oh wait, when was it made?
Well, if I tell you, you'll know the answer, won't you? It was discovered in 1930, but that doesn't mean it was only discovered. It was still there in the sky beforehand, but we only found out it was there in 1930. So how long do you think it's been up there in the sky? How old do you think Pluto is? Forget the 1930. 1930 is when human beings saw it in the sky, but it was there a long, long, long time before.
1,000 million trillion years.
All right, you don't know.
Yeah.
Right, I will tell you. Pluto is believed to have formed at the same time as all the other planets.
Oh,
right. So Pluto is between 4.46 to 4.6 billion years old.
What?
That's roughly the same age as the Earth. The Earth is about the same age. So it's been up there a long time before we actually discovered it in 1930.
Yeah, planets are old.
They're really old.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on to our last question. Phoebe, do you think that there is life on Pluto?
Oh, this is hard.
Is it?
No, I don't actually know. It's quite easy. I don't think there is life. I think there's like weird plants there. Weird stuff.
The planet is made up of mainly, it's got a frozen mantle. That means the top layer of Pluto is all frozen in liquid nitrogen, I think it is. So there's probably no life on Pluto, I would say. It probably is a dead planet. But some scientists think that they have spotted a frozen lake on Pluto. And they think that the top of it might be totally frozen, but they think there is a good chance that inside the lake there could be water still there. Liquid water, which is not frozen. And that could harbour life. But not like fish. It won't be like fish or stuff like that. It'll be like microscopic life. We won't be able to see it with our eyes.
Like plants, like seaweeds?
No, possibly, but I think they're thinking mainly just like things you can see in a microscope, microscopic traces of life, not actual fish or animals or anything like that. So that was the last question. What do you think about Pluto then? Have you learned a lot about Pluto today?
I think it's a pretty interesting planet.
Well, when it's not a planet anymore, it's a dwarf planet. You've got to remember that, it's a dwarf planet. When people did think it was a planet, it was the 9th planet in the solar system, and everyone said it was the furthest away from the sun. But I think since there have been a few other dwarf planets that have been discovered,